Hi, and welcome back to Serial Killers, the podcast all about the pests, diseases, and weeds and problems of arable crops.
Mm-hmm.
Today, Josie, what are we covering?
We are doing the small jumping beetle, flea beetle,
Flea beetle.
Philotreta.
And Josie has got a lot of material about flea beetle. She's got
Yes.
4 A3 sheets.
In fact, it printed off wrong off the printer, so it's like 4 lines on 4 bits of paper.
So you've done your homework on this one.
Yes, I've done my homework on this one.
So how many...
This was a bit more interesting than grasses.
Well, yeah, it's not hard, is it? Flea beetle, how many flea beetles are there in the world?
Over 100 species.
Yeah, so beetles are the most the most numerous group on the planet. So there's like 8 million different species, well more than plants where there's only 220,000, a lot more than, say, mammals where there's hundreds. You know,
I've got a beetle in my pond.
Have you?
Yeah, and it just comes up for a bit of air,
Yeah.
and then it goes down again, and apparently they breathe through their bottom.
Do they? There you go.
There you go.
So there's, how many did you say? Flea beetles?
Over 100 species.
Yep. And they all, apart from cabbage stem flea beetle, the ones that we're interested in, they pretty much have the same life cycle, would you say?
Yeah.
So we treat them all as one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even though they might have different colourings, they might emerge slightly later or slightly before, they might affect different plants. Their control, their life cycle will be very similar.
Yeah. We're particularly interested in the oilseed rape.
Flea beetles. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything on a brassica, basically.
That's right.
I think Philotetra is the genus. There's about 8 species of them on brassicas. You're not going to get flea beetles that are going to cause major issues on cereals.
No, but there is a flea beetle that affects flax.
There is the flax flea beetle. Very problematic. And if you walk through a flax field, you'll get loads of flea beetles jumping around. And there's a potato flea beetle, Epitrix.
Okay.
And if you find that, you have to notify DEFRA or FERA or the plant health inspector or whatever they're called that week.
Is it new then to the country?
No, it's been around for a while, but it's just one of those notifiable pests.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's big in Italy. There you go.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. So, we have to mention you being Italian on every podcast.
We've got a tenuous link going on here.
Give us a potato dish from Italy. There you go. Are there any major ones? What's gnocchi?
Gnocchi, yeah.
There you go. Everyone loves gnocchi. There you go. So we're talking particularly on the crucifers, the brassicas, and unlike cabbage stem flea beetle, it's the adult that causes most of the damage.
Like shot leaves, aren't they?
Yeah. Like
shot holes in leaves.
Or they might not get all the way through and they're still just like craters. Yeah.
Yeah, it can get like a nice lacy appearance on your leaves.
Yeah. And the larvae can mine the leaves as well on the outside or the stem a bit. So a lot of beetles do mining larvae, but this one's on the outside.
Yeah.
How big is a flea beetle?
It is 1/16 of an inch. They're literally tiny.
My heart sinks every time you give me an imperial measurement. 2 to 3 millimeters. There we go.
Shows you how old I am. Oh my God.
I know.
I better change my mindset pretty quick there.
I just, you had, yes. Get on the metric. All our kids are being taught metric and then they leave school and then they have to go back into 16ths of an inch or whatever.
Well, it just keeps them awake.
Yeah. Right. So.
But they've got large rear legs. Despite being so tiny, their back legs are big.
I read a well-developed rear or hind leg.
So they jump like fleas, but they're not. They're a beetle.
Yeah.
So not to be confused with a flea.
In German, they've got some name that means ground flea, I think, or soil flea. I don't know what that is in German.
No, I don't.
A at GCSE German.
No. But these aren't harmful to us, whereas fleas will kind of like bite or sting us. These don't.
No, they just sort of jump into your leg. That's about as bad as you're going to get unless you're a farmer when they're taking your yield away. How bad is it on a yield perspective?
In 2020, an average of 31% of drilled area for oilseed rape was lost to flea beetle damage.
But was that cabbage stem flea beetle?
No, that was oilseed rape.
No, but it still might be cabbage stem flea beetle.
Oh, no, I don't know.
We'll look into that one.
Yeah. In the south of England, 41% of oilseed rape was written off. And east of England, 37%. And that was 4 years ago.
Because we're going to do a separate podcast on cabbage stem flea beetle. We're going to do a deep dive.
Yeah.
to the deepest depths. There we go. So there's a lot of information on companion planting and trap crops. Some of it anecdotal, some of it evidence-based. So a companion crop is something that dissuades...
Oats are a companion crop?
Yeah, that would dissuade it from coming in, so the beetles might land on it, realise it's not a crop, and then fly away. Trap crops are ones that draw them in.
Yep, sacrificial crops.
Crops. And one of the key things about flea beetles is that for a beetle, they're actually very good flyers. They can fly a long way. They just don't fly very high.
Do they fly or do they jump?
They fly.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, they're a beetle, they fly. But they can fly a long way, but they don't fly very high. So things like fences or fleecing can stop them if they're just above like a metre or something like that.
Okay.
So in my greenhouse, I grow Chinese cabbages, and I can leave the top vents open and I'll never get any flea beetle damage.
Okay.
And Chinese cabbages are a great crop to grow in a greenhouse because they'll grow like stink. And as long as you can keep flea beetle off them, they'll grow really well.
Oh, I like Chinese cabbage.
Outside, Chinese cabbage is a whole different story.
I know.
Destroyed by...
I like pak choi and things like that. I've stopped growing it.
Yeah. But yeah, get yourself just buy a greenhouse, you know.
I have got a greenhouse. I'm going to try that.
Try it. There you go.
Do you cook your Chinese cabbage or do you eat it like...
Oh, yeah. Boil it in a stew.
Boil it?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. You mean gently braise it?
No. Stick it in with like udon noodles and bacon.
Okay. All right. Then I'll let you go.
Sichuan pepper. My wife doesn't like cooking very often. She doesn't like Sichuan pepper. Anyway, back to flea beetles. There's a few sort of things that have been looked at for controlling them other than just insecticides. So like wormwood extract has been looked at as a control method. Artemisia, that is.
Oh, isn't that what's used to make that drink that's really strong and green?
Yeah, absinthe.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting one because it was considered... So if you look at Eutrema's portfolio of products, a lot of them are classed as basic substances, which is a term used by the European Commission to classify very simple compounds that can be used for pest and disease control in crops that don't require it to be registered as a pesticide. And Artemisia, wormwood extract, was one of the ones that was considered, and they made a judgment that while it's possibly very safe, it wasn't safe as all the other basic substances like chitosan or bicarb or beer or yeast and things like this. And so it wasn't registered as a basic substance. So that wasn't allowed for control. Other methods of control, I guess, insecticides where they can be used.
They're becoming resistant to pyrethrin sprays.
Yeah. Parasitic wasps love beetles and their larvae.
Oh, good.
So for every pest, there's...
Nematodes are good.
Are they?
Yeah.
If you can apply them. So on arable crops, probably not possible. What I found interesting about the flea beetle is that they lay their eggs. The adults emerge. They can fly up to 1 kilometre. They lay their eggs. And then they live for 2 to 3 weeks. And then they pupate.
Yeah.
And that pupation takes 6 to 8 weeks, which is a long time, I think.
Well, it's just developing their back legs, isn't it? So that they can go around jumping around. It takes
so long to develop those back legs.
Yeah.
The adults emerge, start eating, producing those shot holes, and then they overwinter as adults in the soil. And that's quite unusual because most insect pests either overwinter as a pupa. You know, you think about thrips and things like that. They'll overwinter as a pupa.
But they like sheltered spots, so your field margins and your hedgerows.
Yeah, they eat the crop and then they go, right, it's time to go away now.
Yeah. And then leaf litter as well.
Yeah.
So, but then they'll come back in the spring.
Yeah, and I think that's probably one of the issues we had. We tried to do a flea beetle, probably a cabbage stem flea beetle control, where we were looking at using something called lime sulfur. And the problem is that unless you've got residual activity on the crop, it's really hard to control and do a trial on flea beetle because you could kill off all the flea beetles in a 5-hectare plot and then they'll all just come in from other crops because they can fly for such a long distance and they can smell the crop growing.
Yeah.
So
they've been to their winter residence.
Yeah. And so multiple applications are required and things like that. It's going to be one that's going to affect young crops because obviously if you get a bit of adults feeding on an adult crop, it's not going to be a big issue, whereas a young plant will take away the cotyledons.
Well, the larvae feed on roots and the entire stem, so
That's more cabbage stem flea beetle, I think, is where the stem's destroyed. Yeah. But feel free to correct me if you know different. So spring sown brassicas are a key issue here for standard flea beetle. Another interesting fact about flea beetles is that in America, they've introduced flea beetles to control spurge weeds, euphorbias, and things. So they can be beneficial if they're feeding off weeds. So we just need, like if you found a groundsel,
you need to watch that one then.
Yeah,
how
I think
that goes.
Like ragwort, you get flea beetle on, don't you?
Oh, right.
So, yeah.
Since 2013, the oilseed rape harvest has fallen by 50% due to flea beetle.
Yeah. So flea beetle and cabbage stem flea beetle together
in 10 years.
Yeah, it's a hit or miss crop.
Yeah,
in a lot, and I think depends on what the crops are doing in different parts of the world as well. Whether the price is obviously a big issue. One issue as well is because they can fly long distances, but there is control methods for them. There was a proposal that everyone on the east of the Pennines should grow oilseed rape 1 year, and then everyone on the other side of the Pennines should grow it the next year.
Oh,
and you could potentially wipe it out if you did that. But that requires all the farmers to work together and agree who's going to grow oilseed rape. And I don't think that would ever be logistically possible.
But oilseed rape is a really important crop.
Yeah, you're basically asking, 20,000 CEOs to all agree.
Yeah.
So it's virtually impossible. And we're looking at other oilseed crops here at Utrema. So if you are fed up of your oilseed rape being destroyed and you're looking for something that's more reliable and has a more guaranteed income, then get in contact with me at russell@utrema.co.uk. We're actively looking for farmers to trial a different oilseed crop with some of our commercial partners, and particularly looking for farmers down in the southeast of England. But even if you're not in the southeast of England, please do get in contact.
I've got something just to finish up with that's quite interesting about them.
Go on.
So they jump when they're threatened, and they can do over 30 consecutive jumps.
Right.
Okay. And because their large rear legs are really effective in nature, scientists are looking at this catapulting jump mechanism in the flea beetles and looking at reproducing it.
Yeah.
In robotics as well as in engineering and industrial installations. And they're also looking at creating a bionic limb.
Yeah.
Using this technology.
So I've got a question for you.
Go on then.
Who would win at the Insect Olympics between a click beetle and a flea beetle? Does original height take into account? There you go.
The flea beetles are tiny, so the click beetle's got a bit of an advantage because they're bigger, so they can jump further.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go, click beetle.
But I think flea beetle will give it a run for its money with over 30 consecutive jumps.
There you go. So the click beetle would win the high jump.
Yeah.
But the flea beetle would win the triple jump.
I don't know.
There you go. I was going to say hop, skip, and a jump there.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Brilliant.
But this is like
the
using
gymnastics.
nature.
Yeah. There you go. Brilliant. On that absolutely amazing fact there from Josie, any other interesting jokes or facts?
No.
There you go. There's some joke in there about John, Paul, George, or Ringo as well, but I've not had time to think about it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
There you go. But yeah, on that useless drivel that has petered out into a boring conversation, we will end the podcast. Thank you very much, Josie.
Thank you. I enjoyed that one.
Yeah. What do you want to do next?
I think ryegrass.
No, I think we should do cabbage stem flea beetle.
I haven't done that one yet.
I know, but the listeners don't know that.
Oh, yeah. We'll do, ryegrass and cabbage flea beetle.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Both of these are going to be coming up very soon.
Brilliant. Make sure you hit that bell icon
and tell us what your favourite pasta and
chocolate bar
is.
And who would win in your insect Olympics.
Yeah.
All right. Till next time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ta-ra.
Bye. I wonder if anyone will get in touch with us.
Probably not.